During construction of noise or retaining walls, problems can occur when utilities, construction phasing conflicts, and inadequate access are not considered. The issues are seen nationwide, but research on possible best practices is limited. The Texas Department of Transportation and the Texas A&M Transportation Institute looked at ways to provide guidelines on how and where walls are placed, saving time and money in the process.
So when building noise walls and retaining walls, issues with utility conflicts and construction activities and access issues can arise. Previous manuals and design documents didn't really address these. So the purpose of the research is to address constructability and maintenance issues with walls by looking at sequencing and placement.
In the environmental division, my part, we have a federal rule that when there's impacts from a project, we have to be able to build a noise wall. And then there becomes the theoretical wall that we can build and what actually can be built, and that's what designers know and project people know. So the coordination and sequencing of the projects to get that built, knowing whether utilities on the ground is critical.
We did a lot of interviews with personnel who are involved with noise walls and retaining walls, design and constructability and maintenance. So that was very important for our research, looking at those interviews and getting that feedback from people who were involved in that process. It was also important for us to look at active TxDOT construction projects and seeing what issues that they were encountering with noise walls and retaining walls during that construction process, and how those issues could be alleviated in the design phase by looking at sequencing and placement of those noise walls and retaining walls.
The big thing that we got out of this was a guidance document with more precise guidance for our various areas. So that goes into standards and specifications, how to do that sequencing, recommendations on placement of barriers.
We've also come up with recommendations for updates for TxDOT manuals. So those can be incorporated, and it'll help with the process also. That'll alleviate issues with highway construction projects that incorporate noise walls and retaining walls, which will reduce issues for TxDOT and also the traveling public.
The recommendations of the report are to try to look at those utilities and possible impediments earlier in the process, and add it to the schematic at the beginning, just so that people are even thinking there could be a barrier here. So really, it's just streamlining, making things easier.
For our next steps for this research, we'd like to work with the TxDOT districts and incorporating the guidebook that we produced. And the guidebook provides recommendations and best practices for sequencing and placement noise walls and retaining walls, and those would most be beneficial to be incorporated during the design phase. Some of them can be incorporated during construction phase as well.
For more information and to find the publications for this project, please visit the TxDOT Research Library at the link shown below.